Hi there, here's mental coach Shatov from the tennis academy Ball Planet in Magdeburg, Germany. Welcome to another edition of my mental training online program. So last time we talked about emotional scars and getting immune to being hurt by becoming stronger than the other person, not physically but mentally, by creating a self-image for yourself that you respect, you're proud of, and you can live with. And by taking responsibility and realizing that it's not the other people's actions that hurt us, but only our reactions to those actions. Now, this was all about getting immune towards new emotional hurts. However, what do we do with emotional hurts that are already there? Traumas from our past, for example. This is what Dr. Mautz addresses in the last part of this chapter, and he says he prescribes for the removal of emotional scars forgiveness. He says that forgiveness is the only way through which you can remove emotional scars and emotional traumas from the past. And he says that it should be a real forgiveness. It's not just you saying, okay, I forgive him or her, but actually still having the feeling of hatred and bitterness inside you, but truly, completely, honestly, and genuinely forgive the other person for what has happened in the past. Okay? Not because you are a generous person, but because maybe most likely what the other people did was not personal, maybe it was not meant in a bad way. Again, maybe it was not what they did, but how you reacted to it, that was actually the cause of the trauma. And the most important reason is that you should realize that you are in a way canceling the debt, not because again you're generous, but because there was no debt in the first place, and has never been anything that the other person has owed you. Because you can't hold, everybody makes mistakes, you make mistakes, and other people make mistakes, just as you like to be forgiven for your mistakes, the same way you should forgive other people about their mistakes. And also because there was actually not anything to forgive, because again, it was not what the other person did, but it was how you emotionally responded to it that created the problem, and not the action in itself. And you should also forgive yourself. So not only forgiving others, but forgive yourself. Stop blaming yourself for mistakes that you made. Realize that you did the best that you could do at the time, and stop living in the past, because in the past you cannot appropriately react to the past. You cannot change the past, so it's in vain. Like digging in the past, it cannot change it, so it just only creates more emotional tension. You should, if you have a mistake, make a mistake now, you should analyze it, correct it, but change it, because you can do it in the present, but in the past you cannot change it. So what you should do is realize that it was a mistake, think about what you should have done, could have done, but then forget it. So you forgive yourself, then forget it. And as a final thought, Dr. Maut says that it's good to create emotional tissue, scar tissue, in order to protect ourselves, but at the same time we should always also be a little bit vulnerable if we want to truly live. And by that he means, for example, a turtle who is very well protected, but the turtle certainly cannot experience a lot because of this heavy protection and shield that it carries around all the time. it's also very limited to its experiences and to its life. So if you want to live and live fully, you should realize that getting burnt sometimes is part of the way, and you should allow yourself to be a little vulnerable. If you big Another example that Dr. Maus gives is with if you have the skin, we have our skin is, for example, could be cut, so it's not very thick, but it's doing its role of, for example, it's not letting water come through it. It protects from outside bacteria, but it also allows us to feel. If you had a thick skin that was so thick that it can't be cut, you wouldn't also feel anything. You would never experience the feeling of touch, for example. So you should be vulnerable, and you should be emotionally strong at the same time. Find the gold middle and not be too vulnerable and not be too protected. That's all for today. Until next time.